Hello and welcome to Crafting with Jane. So today is art journaling, and one of my subscribers said, oh, please go through what you've done so far, and I thought, well, I will when I've done a few more, because this is number 6. I always have a piece of foam behind so that it doesn't bleed through, as this one you can see bled through. And today this is going to be my focal point, so I'm going to be using a turtle as a focal point. And I think I'm going to stamp a few little fishes, but I want to create a really lovely background, so I thought this time I would use some reinkers. So I'm going to put, because they're very juicy, so I'm going to put a couple of drops of, this is Marina Mist, which is a blue, this is Coastal Cabana, which is a sort of a turquoisey blue. I'm just putting a couple of drops of them on. I want a green, which is Wild Wasabi. Say a lot of these are retired, but I'm using what I've got, as I keep telling you. That's my thing, using what I've got. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to buy the odd thing, but certainly not stacks and stacks and stacks. Okay, now I want some water as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to water or just spray lightly the page, because then that hopefully will allow it to settle a bit. And I need to put some, let's do it in, I don't want to mix them up. Hopefully you can see this. Let's put it here. All I'm doing is adding a drop of water into here, so we've got a really concentrated colour. And then, oops, I'd moistened that, hadn't I? And then I can take the colours that I want. So I think I want to moisten my brush, so I'm just going to do that with this. So my brush is a little bit wet as well. And then we're going to take the darker colour and see what I can do with this. And again, it's a complete experiment, because I have just sort of blending the colours in together. Might actually need some more on there, bit of green to come in there, because I want it to be quite sort of oceany. It's probably a little bit dark. Let's put a little bit of the yellow in. These are quite nice and dark, which is quite good. I'm just going to add just a little bit of water in on here. And we want a little bit more blue in on the centre. I think that blue was a nice one. So I'm just going to add a couple more drops of that blue, because I want it to be quite bright. Let's see. Coming out a bit greeny, but I think round the sides it'll be all right. Okay, so that's that bit on there, which it's okay, it's not great, is it? Okay, so I'm going to try now using this, which is an acetate sheet. So I'm going to try with the darker blue again. Of drops on there, pick it up with, let me put it this side so you can hopefully see. I'm going to pick it up with the acetate sheet, and then hopefully I can just blob it on a bit. I think that might be okay. I need to just sort of dab it about a bit, don't I? Because that helps it, apart from I've got a line up at the top. Let's see, that's got a bit of green on there. See if I can get that. I don't want it to come in a line, because that's the top of the bit here, isn't it? So if I just dob this up on here and then take it that way, hopefully it won't be too liney. That's the darker one again. It looks lovely on here, doesn't it, when you pick it up? but when I'm putting it down, it doesn't look quite as good. But I think that's just because my technique is not probably as good as it could be. Ah, that's better. So you just do a little tiny, whoops, little tiny bit, and then try and just dob it without it going in. That's better. So it's a matter of just sort of getting it up on there and then just quite gently dobbing little bits on. Now, I haven't tried, I'm obviously using water-based inks because I've got lots of those. So I think it's the sort of thing that you can sort of play with a bit and try and see for colours and things. Okay, so that for me is a little bit dark on there. I'm going to try and get my heat tool and just dry that off a bit. I've got it in my drawer. I didn't think about getting that out, but let's have a look and see what we can do with this. Because I think once it's dried, it might be a bit better. I can always whiten it. As I said, this is a real experiment of things, and sometimes I think, oh, they're nice, and sometimes I go, no, don't like those. So excuse the noise. I'm just going to try and dry this off a bit. I think once it comes up drier, it might be better. This bit is quite wet. That's actually coming quite nicely now. And I think it is that thing of allowing it to all dry. Once it's dried, it does. Yes, Lee, see, that's interesting, isn't it? Now it's drying, it's actually coming into quite nice sort of colours. See if I can dry it off a bit on here. You should really wait for it to dry, but because I'm trying to show you how I'm working with it, I'm not allowing it enough time to dry. Okay, that's going to have to do for now. I should probably do a bit in a minute, but you can see it will dry completely and you get more of a paler colour. So I quite like that, but I still want to do something more with it. So I've got a few brushos as well, and I want to try and experiment a bit with using this plastic sheet and seeing if I can do it with some of the brushos. Now this is the yellow, which I quite like, so I'm going to put the, make sure I don't put it on there, I'm going to put a little bit of yellow on here, and then I'm going to add the water to the brusho. Yes, I am in on camera on here. It's very difficult to see sometimes. Okay, because that I think is very, very vibrant, but we'll see just how vibrant it is if I can pick it up with a bit like that. It's a bit green, isn't it? But let's see if I can put some in, just sort of down on here. Yeah, that's sort of a bit better, isn't it? Still a bit green. I think what I'll do now is, let me see if I can get some white in there. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Don't know whether I can, but we can see. Okay, so white has got to be my Posca pens. Let's just grab those out. I've got my thick one because that will be better. And then I can put some of that on here. Like that. And I don't think I need to add any water. I think I need to just pick it up like that and see if I can just just it's quite difficult doing this. It looks easier than it is, but I'm sure I will get it in the end. It's one of those things that I keep saying, it's all about practicing, and these are hopefully giving me sort of a little bit wavy looking bits, hopefully. The trouble with the Poscas is that they do disappear quite quickly. You see on here, that gives a bit of a sort of a wavy bit, I think. Let's put that down on there, see if that'll give it a bit more. A bit, yeah, I think we're going to have some more of that. I quite like that look. Say it's still not brilliant, but it's getting there. What have I done with it? Here it is. So let's try a little bit more of this, and that's why it's good to put it in the journal. And I'm going to go one little squirt of water, because by putting it in the journal, it means that that looks a nice looking bit of wave, doesn't it? See if I can get them to come down on there. Right, let's see, but just doing it gently, little dabby bits. You see, I can't get it so that I have to put my little finger in there to just get some of the bits. That's better because it's coming a bit paler now. Not the greatest, but as we said, this is all about a journey and learning as we go. Okay, it's sort of there, isn't it? It's not the greatest at the moment, but I think we can probably work with it. So that's the background. I am going to try and give it a little bit more of a dry, just for a minute, because as it dries, it does start to come a bit paler, which is quite nice. This is coming nicely and pale. Okay. Oops. Turn it off. So it's not completely dry, the centre bit isn't, but it's getting there. So, and my turtle is going to just swim in the centre. Now I'm going to add some of these little fish as my sort of texture part, but what I want to do is I want to do them in a very dark colour. So I'm going to take, colours that, Night of Navy, because I want them to show, and I'm going to take this and just see if I can put, I don't know which way they swim. I don't think it really matters actually. Oh yes, that's nice. Okay, so I'm just gonna swim them about, and we'll have some up at the top here. Oh, it's not going to quite catch on there, is it? Half a fish. Let me see if I can get them to come in from there. That's better. You see, I like that. That, to me, looks lovely on that background now. And I'm doing them so they're sort of swimming at different angles. I have to be careful of that one, don't I? That way. And that way. So I've got quite a lot of them, but I don't mind because that sort of covers up the background a bit. I think that works quite well. Really like that. Love the fish against the background. I think works beautifully. And I think the turtle needs to have some darkness to him because he's a bit pale compared to the rest, although he could be higher up in the surface and they could be down at the bottom of the water. So I think that would quite work. So let me think what I'm doing now with this. I think we want a little bit of You see, that's quite, I've got to remember I mustn't keep adding and adding and adding, because then it doesn't look quite right. He needs to become a little bit darker, so I need to put some of this Night of Navy on. Let's take these pieces out of there. So that's going to be my Night of Navy, and I'm just going to make the turtle a little bit darker, not a huge amount, just a little bit. So I'm just taking him round on there, and the tops of his fins. A little bit on there. That's where I've cut him out, so that you don't have the white line of him being cut out, but I think I might have the bits underneath his fins still left. What do we reckon? Maybe not. I think we need to just try and get it in that way. Just a little bit up that way. What I'm trying to do is to just bring it in just a tad, and just a little bit on. There we go. That, I think's better. Then, do I just put that in like that and leave him? Just have him sort of swimming in on the background. I quite like that. Now it's starting to dry out. Those colours have worked pretty well together, but I'm still not completely. I think we'll glue him on. Still haven't gone and got my I've got a box of Tombow in my drawer, not in my craft room, and I keep forgetting to do it. So I come into my craft room, turn my camera on, and I'm thinking I'm not going to walk all the way into the other room, find the glue, and then come back. So I'm using this glue. I think that's gonna, we just want him sort of swimming in like that. Take him in like that. Now I quite like that. I think that's given quite a bit of texture in on there. What I can do now is I want to do a little bit of stenciling, but I don't want to do a lot. So I'm going to take, this time, I'm going to take the indigo blue stencil. Let me just find it, which is in on here, which I really rather like. I like these sorts of shapes. I think that they're really rather nice, and again they're sort of bubble-ish. So I think we're going to have this sort of down on here, and I want to do it in the paler blue to just sort of tone it in. So I'm going to take the colours that we were sort of looking at. So what have I got? I've got Marina Mist, I've got Orchid Oasis, and I've got Tahitian Tide, because I think that they will. I'm going to try the Tahitian Tide actually, and let's see what that one looks like just down on the side here. So I just need to, let's move my heat tool out of the way. I'm just going to take this down. I like these bubbles, and take these up from the top a bit. And then we're going to just take this down in on here. And it's funny, I've been watching, you know, various different videos on mixed media and things to just get some ideas, and all of them turn round and say, just keep going, it will come in the end. And I'm like, yeah, I think it's that sort of thing, that you have to just keep going, and it then sort of starts to take shape. I think I want something that's more blue, don't I? That one, I think Marina Mist will probably work better. this one's a little bit pale, so just take this one. I want to just do a few more of these sort of bubble things in between, because that's just a little bit, I think that's just a little bit too pale for me. I might just do a little bit down on here. I quite like it when it just sort of comes in on the sides, in on the colours. That's better. That's sort of given it a bit more of a texture in on there, doesn't it? That I think is perfect. Don't want to do any more because otherwise it's going to start looking too much. Okay, so now I have got some 3 different sorts. I've got those up in here. 3 different sorts of liquid pearls, and I thought it would be quite nice to just add a few of those. Now this is where I probably need a little pin. To see if they're going to come up or not. No, we need a little bit of pin on there. But I think with that, and I want to put a little bit of, we'll just have a bit of sparkle on the turtle, I think. I'm not going to put any words or anything on this one, I don't think. I just want to have some, just a little bit of sparkle. So the top of the water is just sort of glistening over the turtle. I think that's quite nice. And then we want the liquid pearls just coming in underneath, because they just blend in with the colours of the water. Now I always keep a little pin so I can just put this one on here like that. See if I can get that pin. Not quite what I was doing with the pin. Oh yes, it will go in. And then that comes out like that. And then with a bit of luck, it should. Is it going to come out? Yes, it is. Okay, so I just want to have just a little bit, just round in on here. I'm just gonna give it so that it's almost sort of like little bits of wave coming through. In fact, what I need to do is to try and paint it on, but I think it'll work like this. Just trying to just get little bits so that it looks as if it's the tops of the waves coming through. And I can do them in the different colours. So it doesn't matter if it comes out in a bit of a blob, because we can clean it off afterwards. That's looking better. As I say, I always start them and I go like, oh, I really don't like this. I really don't know why I'm doing this. And I'm trying to, you know, build my skills. And it's like everything. When you start, you just need to practice and practice and practice. So doing it once a week and bringing you all along with me, you know, the ones that are experienced will be laughing away. And the ones that find it out of their comfort zone will maybe go, you know what, I might have a little go at this. So let's just do, oh, that's quite a nice one, isn't it? Quite like that. Just want it so that it just looks as if it's little wavy bits of water coming through. That's why I'm doing it in the different colours, because then it just looks as if it's the waves coming through above where the water is, and then you get that, once it's dried, you'll get that really lovely sort of wave look to it, I think. Okay, and then the palest one is the green. Again, give it a shake. And it just goes to show, you know, things do last for a long time. These are probably five or so years old, if not more. Between 5 and 10 years old. And as I say, apart from having to stick a pin in them from time to time, that's the only thing that you have to do. And you still get lovely colours out of them. I always just put them in like that. Okay, so this is the real pale one. And all I want to do is to just give it a little bit of waves. And I think it does actually look quite like waves, which I think is quite nice, and it's quite sparkly, so it's that sort of thing of looking down through the water. And the fact that I've got different colours I think works quite well. And it doesn't matter if it comes out a bit blobby, because we're just making it into like little wavy lines and stuff, so that I think's fine. Okay, so I might put some words in. I don't know quite what words I'm going to put, because I want to put something to do with sea and ocean and things like that. And there's no words on that particular stamp set, and I don't know whether I've got anything with sea and oceans in, but I might find something. But if not, it is just a picture, which, as I say, is, let me bring it up so we can have a little look at it again, because you can't really see it until, let me get right, now you can start to see some of that sort of depth of the colour of the liquid pearls coming through, and then hopefully the sparkle on the turtle. So I think it's actually, again, it's turned out all right in the end. So thank you so much for watching me. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.